You know that song that whenever it comes on in your playlist or on the radio or your friend plays it or something, you completely skip past it? You don't want to listen to it because it's associated with such an emotionally tense time that it feels like right when it starts playing, you can't even bear what's coming up, the emotions that are presenting themselves in that moment, and you feel like the song is ruined and you can't even listen to it anymore. Well, in this video, I want to tell you how important it is to listen to that song, to let that song play. I remember years ago, me and my brother were on LSD together, and my brother and I had this falling out where we didn't talk for over a year, and when we got back together, we started, growing and exploring our minds together through the use of psychedelics and this kind of stuff, and there was a particular song that really weighed heavy on my heart, and it reminded me of that falling out that my brother and I had. And when we were on LSD together, that song came on. We were playing music and that song came on. And without even thinking about it, I was like, oh, I don't want to listen to this. This is too intense. So I skipped it. And my brother, being in the state that he was, in the conscious space that he was in that moment, he said, no, how about we let that song play? So we went back and he turned up the volume and we let that song play. And I started crying my eyes out. He started crying his eyes out. And we grew through listening to that. We healed through listening to that, where in that moment it was a matter of facing my emotions in regard to that song, where when the song comes on, when your song comes on that you can't listen to because it's associated with a heartbreak or a death in the family or a time in your life in the past that's no longer here anymore, or whatever it is, you know what I'm talking about. It's that song that comes on and you can't bear to listen to it because the nostalgia, the pain, the heartbreak, the grief, the overthinking, or whatever it is, becomes so intense that you can't even do it, so you skip over it. You're not running from the song. You're running from your emotions in response to the song, where you don't listen to that song because it triggers and awakens feelings within you that you don't want to face. So it's not the song that's the problem at hand. And it's not even necessarily a problem. It's what's going on is we're running from our emotions. We're hiding from the truth of how we feel. We want to live in this isolated bubble where we're not reminded of the things that we haven't yet processed. And when that song comes on, when your song comes on that you can't listen to, when that song for me came on during that LSD experience, it's like, whoa, let's skip this and let's go past this because I can't handle the feelings that are being born out of listening to this song. So it's not the song that's inducing any sort of reaction. It's the song is triggering feelings within us that we aren't willing to process. But see, I want to tell you this. The quickest way out is through. It may seem that when the song comes on and you skip it, you're leaping over that emotional hurdle, that emotional pain by just skipping the song and you don't have to deal with it. But what you're doing is you're prolonging the process. You're putting it off more and more and more. You're sort of extending the duration of your lack of emotional processing. You're extending the healing process. It's similar to with nicotine, for example. A lot of people recommend to wean off and to don't go cold turkey, and you need nicotine gum and nicotine patches, and all that does, at least in my experience, is prolong the duration of the healing process. It prolongs the process of getting over it, where when you once and for all stop using the nicotine, it's hard for the first week or so, and then you move through the brood of it basically all at once, and then it's just a matter of readjusting to your life without it. And that's very much so the same thing with listening to the song, where you go head first into that emotional intensity and you face it once and for all. When you skip the song, what's happening is you're essentially running from your own feelings. You're running from your own feelings. And what this does is it creates a very overly sensitized individual where you can't hear certain songs, you can't go certain places, you can't do certain things, you can't talk to certain people or talk to certain people about certain things because it awakens in you unprocessed emotions. Now, it seems like when these emotions come up, it's like a horrible thing, and that's what prompts us to want to get out of it and run away from it. But the awakening of these feelings within us is them wanting to be processed. When the song comes on and that stuff comes up, it wants to move through you. This is something I've been learning a lot within the past 3 or 4 months, is that when a particular emotion arises within you, the very presence of that emotion is it wanting to move out of you. Us humans and life in general, like life as a whole, moves. Life is change. Life is flow. Life is not stagnation. Life is not creating a boundary and like trying to adhere in a concrete kind of way and like safeguard yourself from everything that's changing around you. Life is flow. And in order to flow with life, we need to surrender to that process of flow. So, like when an emotion comes up, a song comes on the radio and you go, oh, I can't listen to this song, and you skip the song, you may not bat an eye to it in the moment, but what you just did is you abandoned the process of healing. You're postponing your healing. You're not healing by skipping the song. You're avoiding the pain. You're avoiding the process of healing. The pain in response to that song playing is the process of healing. And if you keep putting it off, oh, I can't listen to that song anymore, you're postponing and prolonging your process of healing. I remember, once again, another song. This song in particular was, I found this song at a stage of my life when my cat died. And listening to the song, it as it said, it basically ruined the song for me, where I can't listen to it anymore, or seemingly I can't listen to it anymore. But it got to the point, I was on my way to work one morning, and the song came on. And that knee-jerk reaction, same during me and my brother's LSD experience, that reaction came up to skip the song. And before I skipped the song, I paused. And I said, wait a minute. I'm aware that the reason I'm skipping this song is because I can't handle, or I think I can't handle, the emotions that are being awakened and boiling up within me in response to the song. So I want to live my life with integrity. I want to live my life holistically and cleanly and thoroughly. I don't want to run. I don't want to dodge. I don't want to avoid. I don't want to live in denial. And I realized that when I was about to skip the song, it was because of that. I'm trying to avoid my pain, avoid the emotions. So I let the song play. And just like in that experience with my brother, I cried my eyes out. But see, those times when you're sick and you feel nauseous and you're like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna puke, I don't wanna puke. And then you puke and then you feel magnitudes better. Well, that's what it's like when you listen to the song. That's what it's like when you don't skip the song. It's worse to fear puking than it is to puke. It's in the process. When you surrender, like when I get sick, I'm out by the ocean, by the way. It's a beautiful, beautiful environment right now. When I get sick and I feel nauseous and I feel like I'm about to puke, I deliberately go into this state of surrender. I say, okay, listen, body, you're allowed to puke if you need to puke. I know I don't want to, but if you need to, you're okay. I'm not going to impose fear and, oh my God, I don't want to puke. Don't let me puke. I'm going to fight it. No, if you need to puke, buddy, let's do it. And sometimes if I feel nauseous enough, I'll go and sit by the trash can or sit by the toilet and be like, all right, if you want to puke, let's do it. And it's by embracing and leaning into that feeling, that uncomfortable feeling, that you're sort of inviting and allowing that purging to take place. And then sure enough, you feel yourself about to puking. Oh my God, I'm gonna puke. And then you puke, and then you feel better. You feel better because it's happened. And it's said that we often suffer more in our imagination than we do in reality, and that's the case, where the process of puking isn't fun, and that's why we fear it and put it away and don't want it to happen and all this stuff. But 9 times out of 10, when you puke, you feel better. And that's the very, very same thing when it comes to listening to that song that you don't want to listen to. The more you put it off, the more you're telling your own psyche and your own body, mind, and spirit that it's not allowed to feel what it's feeling. The world is acting as a mirror that's reflecting back to us our inner state. So when a song comes on and you feel all these emotions, It's easy to miss the fact that the world is reflecting back to you your own state, and we sort of blame the song. I can't listen to that song. It reminds me, it reminds me of that hard time. When in reality, the song is just a trigger to the hard time that's within you. You know what I mean? Wherever you go, there you are. It's said that the only zen that you're going to find at a mountaintop, the only clarity, the only peace that you're going to find at a mountaintop is the peace that you bring up there with you. So you go to the mountaintop and you feel, it's so beautiful. The mountaintop is only acting as a key, like a sort of trigger that's catalyzing the awakening of peace and clarity within you, the thing that's already there. When the hard song comes on that you don't want to listen to, it's awakening something that's already within you. It's not the song's fault. And see, when it comes to healing, when it comes to processing our emotions, like I said a moment ago, the best way out is through. You see, a while ago I made this video talking about how bison, when they sense a blizzard coming, you'd think that they turn away and try to run away and avoid it, right? They run away from the storm. But what the bison do is they face the blizzard and they go right on into it. But because the bison knows that by facing the storm, you get through it quicker. Think about it. You go into the storm, it passes by you quicker. Whereas if you run from the storm, there's two scenarios here where if you can run faster than the storm, you better keep running. Because the storm is always behind you and it's going to catch up to you if you stop running. So now you have to live your life perpetually running away from the inevitable storm that's coming after you. But also, if you don't run faster than the storm, if you can't outrun the storm, it's inevitably going to reach you. So the bison understand that by going into it, by facing it in its full totality, in its full immensity and intensity, they will get through it quicker. And this is identical to the process of healing that us humans need to integrate and learn to understand. That it's by going into our pain that we will come out the other end quicker. And by skipping the song, by avoiding the feelings, by repressing the feelings, by avoiding all things and circumstances and people and songs and events that remind us of our unprocessed emotions, all we're doing is postponing our healing. We're putting it off. We're not willing to live in the reality of how we feel. It's the same thing with puking. I don't want to puke, I don't want to puke, I don't want to puke. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to feel those feelings, I don't want to feel those feelings. Well, if you came to the awareness that feeling those feelings is the way to get to a place of healing and integrating those feelings, you wouldn't want to run from them. You'd want to feel them. And this is what I learned very early on when it came to this example I'm talking about of listening to that song that I think I can't listen to. Ask yourself, why can't I listen to this song? Well, it awakens all these horrible feelings. It reminds me of the past. It reminds me of my ex. It reminds me of my relative that died. It reminds me of a time in my life when I was happier. Well, by letting that move through you, you're acknowledging your feelings. When you run away from it, you're essentially calling your own body dumb. Where when the song comes on and your body responds to it, the ego, the intellect, the thing that wants to control and run from and get away from, says that feeling of pain is bad and I need to push it away and run away from it. And so the immediate thing that we think of here is to change the song, skip the song, not listen to that song, not go to that place, not talk to that person, not think about. You know what I'm saying? We avoid, we deny, we push away, we run away from. But the way through it, the way to get out of it is to go into it. The way through is in. It's inside of acknowledging your feelings that you develop your own soul, your own mind to a deeper capacity that's able to hold those feelings. Where pain the song comes on and it awakens pain and sadness and despair. By thoroughly integrating those emotions and those experiences, you will come to a place where that pain and despair is transformed into passion and appreciation. And now you like when the song comes on because it reminds you of such a heartfelt, passionate, dense, emotionally rich moment of your life. And why would you want to run away from that? It's the very depth to which we can feel that is a reflection of the depth of life at all. It's said that, I think it was Carl Jung that said, you can't have branches that reach up into the light of heaven if you don't also have roots that descend down into the depths of hell. And see, by skipping the song, by being afraid to feel your feelings, it's like not wanting the roots to go too deep because that's too deep and it's scary and it's dark down there. Without realizing that the contrast to those roots going into the depths is our ability for our soul to ascend into the light of bliss and wisdom and peace. True peace. Peace doesn't come through avoiding and denying. Peace comes through integration. And in order to integrate, you need to process your emotions. And in order to process your emotions, you need to acknowledge them and let them be there. Not run from them, not pretend they're not there, not say, I shouldn't be feeling this. You know, that's a huge one. We all pretend we're not feeling what we're feeling. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter in what instance it is. Like, you have a crush on somebody and they say, hey, do you have a crush on me? Oh, no, I don't have a crush on you. I don't have feelings for you. We're just friends. Hey, are you angry? No, I'm fine. You know? Are you all right, man? Are you sad? No, I'm happy. We lie. We lie because we've convinced ourselves that the feelings we're feeling are wrong, that it's not right to be feeling what we're feeling. It's a dissonance between the reality of what we're feeling and the mental story we're telling ourselves of what we think we should be feeling. That very dissonance is what's inhibiting our healing. It's what's inhibiting our ability to process our feelings and to grow. Healing starts when you begin to allow yourself to be precisely where you are in the moment. Hey, are you sad? Yeah, I'm sad. I feel like shit right now. Hey, are you angry? Yes, I am really angry right now. Hey, do you have a crush on me? Yeah, I do. I do have feelings for you. What do you want to do about it? You know, are you happy? Yes, I'm happy. I'm happy. That's so beautiful. Healing starts when we stop kidding ourselves. Healing starts when we stop running, when we let the storm move through us. Because just like the bison example, you're going to be running the rest of your life if you're trying to outrun yourself. You can't run from your own mind. You know, there's this person in my life that, family member, and we have a camp, and he tells me that he doesn't like going up to camp alone anymore because the memories and the thoughts are all so intense and it's just too much. But then in the same breath, he'll tell me that he wants to sell his home and go live in a cabin in the woods. Now, what sense does that make? If you can't go up to camp and enjoy yourself alone because of everything you're reminded of and all the stuff that comes up, what in the world makes you think that living in a cabin in the woods will be any different? Now you're really alone. Now you're really with just your thoughts. It's dissonance. We haven't integrated the different levels of ourselves. We're living in denial. We're not acknowledging where we are. So what I want to emphasize in this video is the importance of letting that song play. Letting that song play. Don't skip it. Let it play. You know, and there's been multiple times in my life where I'm talking with a friend or an acquaintance about something, or even a family member, and they're like, this is too deep, we gotta change the subject. I don't know how to respond in that moment. I don't know how to, okay, yeah, right, so the weather, anyways, the weather's crazy, isn't it? Wow, let's look at those trees over there. What do you want me to do? You're inviting me into a world of living in denial. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to play along with that. It's so superficial to me to do that. Anytime somebody's been like, this is too deep, let's stop talking about this. Like, I appreciate, I respect your honesty in that, but I don't know how to cooperate with that. It's like, all right, so this is even more awkward than it was talking about it. Now we're really playing pretend. Now we're really living in denial. And you got me doing it with you. And people that tell me, like, if I'm talking about an emotionally loaded situation, and they tell me, like, and if this is too deep, we don't have to talk about this. Or, I'm sorry that you're telling me all this. If you don't want to talk about it, just let me know. I never will stop talking about it, because I intuitively understand that it's by talking about it, it's by expressing it and acknowledging it and living in reality with it, that it allows it to be processed. I don't want to live in a world where I can't acknowledge my own feelings. I don't want to live in a world where I'm running from myself. And like I said, I learned that really early on. It was so beautiful, that instance with my brother, where, I kind of talked about it in the beginning, how we had this falling out, and then we didn't talk for like a year, and then we came back together, and we were so close. We got so close. We started exploring psychedelics and spirituality together, and we got so close. And then on that LSD trip, that song came on. The song that in the past I had associated, I'd made ties to that falling out we had. And it became, I can't listen to this song because it makes me bawl my eyes out in despair and pain and memories, and I just can't listen to that song. Well, that song came on during our acid trip, and I was like, oh, I gotta skip this. This is too much. And my brother said, no, how about we listen to it, man? And yeah, we both cried our eyes out, and it was both hard, and we talked. And you know what? I listen to that song now, and I cry. If I do cry, it's tears of joy, passion, love, growth. Music is magic. Music is wondrous, because music, of course, lyrics will convey meaning, but here's the thing. Music conveys information to us in a different form than language. It conveys feeling. It's visceral. It's raw. It's deep. So when that song comes on and it awakens all this stuff within you, that's your heart. That's your depth. That's your mind awakening. You're awakening. When the songs awaken that stuff within you, that's you awakening. And you're only doing a disservice to yourself by running away from that. You're dampening your own depth. You're not acknowledging how deeply you feel. Now, when you're feeling despair, agony, the depths of sorrow, let's take a moment to appreciate how deeply humans can feel. It's incredible. It's surreal. It's ineffable how deeply the human heart can feel. Now, it's in acknowledging that and allowing that and learning to be right where you are that you begin to grow. You ever stumble across somebody and they just seem like just so deep and so passionate and so mysterious? You know what I'm talking about? That's somebody that is aware of the depth of themselves and they're not afraid to show it. And in order to do that to your own soul, to transform yourself in that same very way, you need to be willing to feel what you're feeling. By living in denial, you're cutting off half of your whole humanity. Because we're running from that depth of ourselves. We're running from our own heart. And I know it's hard, but it's also hard in a counterintuitive way to constantly live your life running, to constantly live your life in denial. The way out is through. And your healing begins when you acknowledge where you are and you no longer run. And you can trust me when I say that you will see in the long term that it's by feeling your feelings that you process them. You will never process your feelings by running away from them. When the song comes on and it awakens stuff and you say, oh, I need to skip this song, that stuff that's coming up is unprocessed trauma, unprocessed baggage that wants to move through you. And skipping the song is the same as like you have garbage in your house and the garbage man comes to pick it up and you say, no, don't take it because I don't want to have to go through the process of like letting the garbage go. You see, it's the same thing. Me getting rid of the garbage reminds me of the garbage and I just don't even want to think about the garbage. So I'm going to just keep it in my house and not even like, you know, I'm going to keep all that stuff within me and I'm going to keep stuffing it down in the basement of my heart. And not get rid of it, because the process of getting rid of it involves having to acknowledge it and grab it and let it go. It's the same thing, man. So the essence of this video is to tell you, when that song comes on, don't skip it. Let yourself feel what you're feeling and you will grow that much quicker. You will come to a place where you can bear the depth of your own heart. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm loving these outside videos. There's going to be so much more of this as summer and spring continues to set itself in. It's so beautiful being out here in the environment and the fresh air. And you know, every time I look away from the camera, seeing moss and trees and water, like I'm by the ocean right now and it's extraordinary. It's so beautiful. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And if you like this video, consider subscribing and leaving a like on this video because it really helps me out. I greatly appreciate it and it helps get this video spread out. So with that said, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all in the next one.